Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Happy Asian American Heritage Month. And welcome to our inaugural joint County and City Asian American Heritage Month celebration. Commemorating this month and all of our Asian American communities, but also commemorating this historic moment where for the first time we have Asian Americans on both sides of this building. I'm Cook County Commissioner of the 13th District, Josina Morita, and last year became the first Asian American woman on the Cook County Board. And we're excited to be joined by our colleagues on the other side of the building. Alderman Nicole became the first Asian American woman in the City Council last year. And Alderman Leni Manaa-Hoppenworth of the 48th Ward with first Filipino elected to the City Council. So from 0 to 3 in just a little over a year and a half, we call that good Asian math. Before we get started, I want to introduce the electeds that are here with us today. We have Cook County Commissioner Donna Miller. I'm going to do all the Cook County Commissioners first, so I don't have to keep saying the title over and over again. Donna Miller, Maggie Trevor, Anthony Casada, Sean Morrison, Bridget Degnan, Scott Britton, Chairman John Daly, Kevin Morrison, Monica Gordon, and Frank Aguilar. We also have we have 4 Asian American mayors across the state of Illinois, including an additional 100 Asian American local elected officials, and we're proud to have one of my mayors in the 13th District, Lincolnwood Mayor Jaisal Patel. We have Mayor Brandon Johnson. He's just a former colleague. City Clerk Anna Valencia. Our only sitting Asian American presiding judge in the state of Illinois, Rena Van Tyne. Cook County Assessor Fritz Kagi. And my boss, Cook County Board President Tony Preckwinkle. So thank you all for joining us today. Asian American Heritage Month is a time for us to celebrate, but also recognize many of the struggles and issues that the Asian American community faces. Many of you know we were coming off a number of years in increases in anti-Asian hate. We still struggle with issues of language access and feeling like we are part of government and part of this community that we are so proud to contribute to and to be a part of. And so having Asian Americans in government is an important step for communities and families that have not seen themselves in government, who haven't felt like they had somebody to call, to be able to see themselves in us, and for us to be able to expand their experience and their inclusion in government with our different platforms. And so we're so honored to be able to do that with our positions, and we're so excited to have you all here celebrating Asian American Heritage Month with us this month. And so we have a handful of speakers today, and we are going to start with permission from the mayor. I think we've agreed that our forever boss will go first. Tony Preckwinkle is the Cook County Board President. She has also been instrumental in helping Asian Americans like myself, like Teresa Ma, like Ram Villavalam, and so many of us get elected. Because when there's nobody who looks like you and nobody whose job it is to champion you, having somebody, an ally and a champion, and somebody like Tony Preckwinkle is what has made all of this possible for us. So without further ado, Madam President, Tony Preckwinkle.
Good afternoon, everybody. I want to thank all the elected officials for joining us, and of course, Commissioner Morita for putting this together. I want to welcome Mayor Johnson to the right side of the building. Thank you for joining us today for Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. As renowned peace and civil rights activist Yuri Kochiyama once said, "Our ultimate objective in learning about anything is to try to create and develop a more just society." You know, many of us don't know that during the Second World War, Japanese American citizens were put in internment camps. Yuri Kochiyama was an internment camp survivor who later became a good friend of Malcolm X. And for decades, from a tiny public housing apartment in Harlem, Yuri taught generations of Asian American activists and organizers, including some who work for my administration, the tenet that civil rights for Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders was bound up inextricably with the civil rights of Black Americans. And that alliance between the Black community and the Asian American Pacific Islander community would be essential to any struggle for liberation. In Cook County, the Asian American and Pacific Islander community has been built around neighborhoods, from Chinatown to Koreatown, from Little Saigon to Little India. Mom and pop stores have been the backbone of these communities in Chicago and across the north and west suburbs. And now the second, third, and fourth generations are more civically engaged than they've ever been. But it's an extension across communities that I'm particularly excited about. The energy of our civic and public leaders is bringing more communities to the table and is creating strong partnerships and alliances across communities of color. Our democracy is better and stronger for it. So I'm pleased to stand here with so many elected officials, and I'm grateful that these city and county events are now taking place, and I'm pleased to be part of today's celebration. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you for mentioning Yuri, who was a personal mentor of mine, and her spirit of leadership in the Asian American movement in ensuring that we worked in coalition with African Americans and Latinos. And so that has been the foundation of our relationship long before Brandon was mayor. We were friends, and we were allies, and we were organizers together, always working in coalition. And so we thank our now mayor, but who's always been a champion and a partner with the Asian American community, Mayor Brandon Johnson.
Thank you and good afternoon. Good afternoon. Your Honor, Cunningham, thank you for being here as well. Thank you to all of our elected officials who are here today. Thank you, President Preckwinkle, for your incredible leadership. And this may be the right side of the building, but as we build a more progressive, just body of government, we're okay calling that the left side of the building. Of course, I'm honored to be with my good friend, Commissioner Josina Morita, of course, as you know, a history maker. But let me also thank Alderwoman Nicole Lee and Alderwoman Manaa-Hoppenworth for their work bringing us all together today. Let's give them a nice round of applause. I am proud to stand with the city's first Asian American alderperson and the first Filipino alderperson, and of course, again, my good friend Josina Morita, who is the first Asian American woman to serve on the Cook County Board of Commissioners. With your leadership, the AAPI community is more represented, of course, at the county and at the city level in the history of these bodies of government. And I continue to look forward to work with all of you. You know, each year throughout the month of May, our city has recognized Asian American Heritage Month and the many contributions that the Asian American community has made to the city of Chicago. And throughout our history, Asian Americans have been shaping and strengthening our city. As many of you may know, Asian Americans are the fastest growing ethnic group in Chicago, and this is according to our last census. And we are home to almost 200,000 Asian Americans. This vast and diverse community is directly contributing to our city through business, philanthropy, government, and community service. They are certainly an integral part to the fabric of our city, and their achievements are invaluable to all of us. Together, let's continue to build a city that always honors the diversity of our communities, our cultures, our traditions, and of course, our lived experiences that ultimately help define who we are. Together, let us continue to make it known that Chicago is a city that will champion diversity and inclusion. And let us continue to come together as city and county officials to make sure that the best part of our people is celebrated throughout the city of Chicago and Cook County. Thank you very much.
So last year, Nicole was appointed 11th Ward Alderman, and also last year, a new city ward map was redrawn. And so she is the first Asian American in the city council, the first first Asian American woman, first Chinese American, and she also represents our first majority Asian American ward. And so it's really exciting to have a partner on the other side of the floor who looks like me, who understands the communities that we represent, Alderman Nicole Lee.
Who wants to ever follow Josina Morita, President Preckwinkle, and Mayor Brandon Johnson? My lucky day, right? But honestly, I'm overwhelmed by the number of people that are here. Thank you, Josina, for the inspiration for this idea and constantly bringing people together. That is what she's all about, and I think President Preckwinkle, because you gave me Josina, and Josina was instrumental in my adventure into politics. So with every person that you see up here, there was someone that paved the road. So I don't want to sort of rehash a lot of the things that other people have said, but I want to acknowledge many of you are employees, are county or city employees. How many of you are city and county employees here? Most of you. Okay. So, you know, for many, many decades and probably generations, there have been Asian Americans constantly in government. Matt DeLeon, my own father, Gene Lee, on the city side, and more recently, Budget Director Susie Park, Jenny Wong Bennett and Reshma Soni, and others who have made careers out of civil service. And what an amazing time it is right now here in Illinois that we've seen this groundswell of political activism on the part of our citizens who are of Asian descent, electing those of us who are willing to stand up and be representatives, because now we have a voice. We've got 5 TV cameras here today. What a time to be seen and heard, everybody. Because if this foray into politics and having gone through one election has taught me anything, it is that so many people don't feel seen and they don't feel heard and they don't think that their vote matters. And we all collectively knocked on a lot of doors to tell them that in fact it did, and their voices do. So we are here to serve you. We are here as Asian Americans to make sure that we are uplifting all of our voices and making sure that the issues that concern our community have a voice on both sides of the building here. At the county level and at the city level, we are here and we are ready to work. Thank you so much.
Nicole is unique amongst all of our Asian American elected officials in representing a majority Asian American community. The rest of our 17 members, we've grown from 0 to 17 in just 7 years, represent districts that are not majority Asian, including myself and including Leni, Manaa-Hoppenworth. And it's exciting to see that not only are we able to get into office to help represent those who haven't been represented before, but also an acknowledgement that Asian Americans, just like other communities that have been marginalized, can represent everybody, that we can serve everybody. And so it's exciting to see Alderman Manaa-Hoppenworth representing the 48th Ward, which is such a diverse ward, and bringing a unique voice as the first Filipino elected to the City Council.
Thank you so much. When my family heard that I was running for office, they said, okay, Mom, whatever. But then I sat them down at the dinner table and I said, really, I'm doing this. And my daughter, Sydney, said, why do you want to do this? You've already got a platform, you're already doing the work. And I said, I want to do what I'm already doing, which is caring for my community at a level where I can make real progressive, sustainable change. And so I ran for office, and truly she was one of my first supporters. And so I did it for her, I do it for my family, I do it for my parents. I'm the daughter of Filipino immigrants, and I know my mother is looking down on me, right? and truly I am my ancestors' wildest dreams. Who would have thought somebody like me could sit on city council, the first Filipino to ever sit on Chicago City Council in its 185-year history? I want to read this resolution that was adopted by the City Council yesterday and introduced by Alderwoman Nicole Lee. Thank you so much for your leadership. And truly, with me on City Council, we have doubled our representations here. So we're thinking about, right? By 200%, by 100%. Whereas I won't read the whole thing because there's a lot of whereases in here, okay? Whereas Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month is observed in the United States during the month of May, and whereas during Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander Heritage Month, the City of Chicago recognizes and celebrates the diverse and vibrant cultures, breadth of achievement, and remarkable contributions of these communities. And whereas Asians are the fastest growing racial or ethnic group in Chicago and now constitute approximately 6.8% of the city's residents, and whereas Nicole Lee of the 11th Ward became the first Chinese American and first Asian American woman to serve on the City Council upon first assuming office on March 28, 22, and whereas Alderperson Leni Manaa-Hoppenworth of the 48th Ward became the first Filipino American to serve as Alderperson upon assuming office on May 15, 2023, be it resolved that we, the mayor and the members of the City Council of the City of Chicago, assembled this 24th day of May 2023, do hereby designate May 2023 as Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month in the City of Chicago, and call upon Chicago to observe this month and recognize the rich heritage of Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders. Mayor and City Clerk, signed. I want to say also that the 48th Ward represents Andersonville, Edgewater, and Uptown truly is a beacon for immigrants and for asylum seekers over many decades, and we are in a humanitarian crisis right now. I look forward to working with all of our officials at the federal, state, and the local county levels to help find a true future for our new arrivals. And I also call on you to help with this effort. Thank you to the City of Chicago for this opportunity. Thank you.
It really is a thrill to be able to stand here with Nicole and Leni. We never thought we would see this day of having 3 Asian Americans elected across this building, women. And while we have made tremendous progress in the last decade, we still have so much work to do to continue to ensure that not just Asian Americans, but all of our different respective communities across the city of Chicago have representation and a voice in government. And so while we continue to make sure that Cook County and the city of Chicago are the most equitable places in the country, we also have to remember, as people who come from groups that are so small, that oftentimes we're told we're too small to matter, we're too statistically insignificant, we're too hard to serve when government is so big, that we have to continue to work to make sure that we're not only equitable, but that we cannot have full equity unless we have full inclusion. And so we really look forward to working together with everybody here to make sure that Chicago and Cook County are the most inclusive places in the world. And so thank you all for being here to celebrate with us today.